Well, you know, here again, the United States government doesn't care about the Christian minorities. The United States government is dealing with Pakistan because it wants Pakistan to fight against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. But of course, Pakistan is using that money that it gets from the United States and giving it to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. And so the whole thing is really kind of an absurd comedy, and yet nobody seems to care in Washington. But above all, they don't care about the Christians in Pakistan, because if they showed any concern for them, then they would be siding with a group that is not in favor with the governing authorities, and they want to win over the governing authorities. So here again, they abandon the Christians to their fate.
Okay. Why Muslim people, when they try to tell them the truth on their books for persecuting and killing Christian and Jews, they try to be in loud voice and saying you disgrace Islam, you don't respect our religion, and they force the world national community to allow to protect Islamic religion. Why? Although we're telling the truth.
The Organization of the Islamic Conference. The Organization of the Islamic Conference is making a concerted effort to make people think that Islam is being victimized by people like you and me, that we are attacking Islam, when all we're doing is reporting on how Muslims commit violence and justify it in the name of Islam. And so they don't care about these things. Well, actually, they care very deeply about these things. What they want to do, though, is change the whole narrative and control the discourse so that they will divert attention away from the crimes that Muslims are committing in the name of Islam and give the impression that really the problem is not those crimes, the problem is just the people, the non-Muslims like me, who are speaking about those crimes. And so what they want to do, essentially, is render us mute and therefore defenseless in the face of the advancing Islamic Jihad. We won't be able to speak anything about it, because to do so would be hateful and bigoted and victimizing Islam and not respecting Islam. And so even when these people are committing violence in the name of Islam, we're going to be made to look the other way, to pretend that it's not happening, and then they will be able to advance unimpeded.
One more to Hamas, and Hamas is like being called from the National Committee is a terrorist organization. We heard in the news that our president donated as annual aid to Gaza Strip for 900 million. Although Gaza Strip has only 12,000 people of population, why our president took all this money out of our pockets and give it to Gaza? Why? Is he supporting a terrorist organization, or that's supporting Islam, or he's against Israel? I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Well, the president certainly has taken a warm, positive view of Islam, and he seems to think that if the West is kind enough to Islamic entities like Gaza, then all the problems between the West and the Islamic world will melt away. And so he seems to think that if he does this, then everything will be all right in terms of the conflicts between the West and the Islamic world. Also, of course, he doesn't ever take into account the ideology of jihad, the belief system that underlies it, and so he accepts the narrative that if Israel makes various concessions, then there will be peace. He never considers the fact that really Israel's existence itself is an insult to Islam, and so Israel has to be destroyed, and the Islamic jihadis will work until it is destroyed. And so this is something that is not going to be solved by any of his concessions, but this is something he doesn't seem to care about. The president is very, very positive toward Islam, maybe because of things having to do with his upbringing, and so he is never disposed to see anything positive on the other side of any conflict in which Muslims are playing one role.
again, I'm trying just to report the public opinion here. The first point here, the public opinion, especially from the minorities who live in the United States, quote, they said that President Obama tried to create a very strong Muslim campaign against Republican and Democrat, or is the same, or a Muslim campaign with equality. It's going to be equal with Republican and Democrat. The second point, why President Obama give a salary every month to any Al-Qaeda terrorist if he leave Al-Qaeda? How can the commander of the chief be sure that the person he took the money is not a member in Al-Qaeda again?
Well, he can't, of course. And there are many, many people who have supposedly left jihad violence and left Al-Qaeda, and then they go back later. And so this is something that should come as no surprise for anyone when this happens. At the same time, the president is bought into, here again, the idea that Islamic jihad comes from poverty, that the Islamic jihadis are poor and downtrodden and oppressed, and so if we give them money, then everything will be all right. And so he gives them a salary and thinks that they will stay away from jihad. It's based on his false assumptions. Actually, Islamic jihadis are in general wealthier and better educated than their peers, and so they really are not likely to be bought off. This is not something that is likely to happen because what they believe is not really something that comes from poverty. What they believe comes from various core teachings of Islam, and those things are not going to change regardless of how much money they're receiving.
I need just to ask you something about Israel before I go to the Muslim Brotherhood organization in the United States. Israel is the only people who took their land by a promise from the Lord. Why all the Muslim world and the Western and the American world, I'm not saying the people, I'm talking about regimes, they try to ignore that and saying that Israeli land is belong to Arabs. That's number one. Number two, how come Jerusalem, the town of David, the town of Solomon, the town of many Israeli prophets, should be an Arab authority, or an Arab authority? Is this, I consider this as an opposing for the Lord order. So in my vision, the problem will be never solved. I need your opinion or comment on that.
No, you're quite right. The Islamic idea is that any land that belongs to Muslims at any time belongs by right to Muslims forever. And so they think that the land that is the land of Israel is by right Islamic land. Also, in Islam, the Jews are, according to the Quran, the worst enemies of the Muslims. And as the worst enemies of the Muslims, and as people who are under the curse of God, they are not entitled to this land. And so Israel has to be destroyed according to traditional Islamic theology. There's no compromise and there are no half measures. There might be some kind of an accord or an agreement only as a step toward getting to the ultimate goal, which is the complete destruction of Israel. And so as far as Muslims are concerned, this is a religious responsibility that they have in order to eradicate Israel because it has no right to exist as it exists on Islamic land.
Let me make it specific here. If we look at any religion for any group of people around the world, like Baha'i, Buddhism, Hinduism, or the people even who worship Satan or devil around the world, none of them needs to kill Christian and Jews. Why Muslim people need to kill Christian and Jews? Do you think if this is a truly order from the Lord to Muslim to kill us as a Christian and to kill Jews too?